The young man had a glass of water thrown in his face by one of his own teammates during a meal. Everyone burst into laughter at his miserable state. The bullies continued their fun by knocking all the food off his plate onto the floor. The poor guy sat still like a statue in a temple, too afraid to fight back. His only friend was furious, but powerless to help. After the humiliating meal, the bullies got creative with their next game. This time, they forced him to do pull-ups, right above a gleaming sword placed beneath him. If he couldn't hold on, he'd fall straight onto the blade. They laughed with delight as he struggled against death itself. The bald young man, drenched in sweat, fought to hold on as if he were gripping the door of the Titanic. In the midst of the tension, his friend appeared, followed by the commander. At the sight of the commander, the bullies froze in panic. They immediately pretended to be model trainees, standing as straight as wax figures in a museum. One would think their actions would be punished, but no. After saying a few words, the commander simply turned and walked away. Like tigers growing wings, the bullies went right back to screaming in the young man's face, forcing him to continue. That night, as the young man was sleeping, a masked group silently crept into his room. Before he could understand what was happening, they pounced and restrained him. His roommate was stuffed into a locker like an old piece of furniture, while he was dragged away to an unknown fate. Another friend sensed something was wrong and followed the trail, leading him to where the bullies had taken him. Through the window, what he saw drained all the color from his face. The bald young man had been stripped down, trembling in the middle of a surrounding gang. The group kept threatening him, making him even more terrified. Since he was alone, his friend didn't dare act recklessly. The bullies weren't just making threats, they brought out a stun gun. The kind that could make a man jump like he just found out his electricity bill had doubled. Without hesitation, they pressed it against the young man, making him scream in pain. And they weren't done yet. They grabbed a canister of gasoline and dumped it all over him. The friend outside turned pale when he saw one of them flicking a lighter, ready to do the unthinkable. There was no time to think. He grabbed a rock and hurled it through the window. The bullies were instantly distracted and chased after him. At that moment, 2 more friends arrived to help. But within moments, they were caught by the gang. In the darkness, both sides fought fiercely, but due to being outnumbered, the young man's group was forced to retreat into the night.